Before you start importing photos or videos from your digital camera into Windows, it's a good idea to do some preparation ahead of time. Specifically, you should think about where it is you want to store your photos and videos. By default, Windows will suggest you store these in special folders like My Pictures. The problem with this approach is it assumes that nothing will happen to your main system drive, which is exactly where the My Pictures folder is stored. In reality, assuming you have 2 or more hard drives, it's a much better idea to store these photos and videos somewhere other than your main system drive. That way, if you ever need to reinstall Windows or do something similar, your photos and videos won't be in jeopardy of being lost. In my case, I have an external X drive, and in this drive, I have a number of folders that I use for data. I'm going to create a new folder here, which I'm going to call Pictures. And that will be the location I use when I import photos from my camera. One last thing I could do before importing is to add this new Pictures folder into my Pictures library. As we'll look at in a minute, libraries are a convenient way to access content that you have stored in folders in various places on your computer, even on multiple hard drives. But once again, we'll look at that in a minute. For now, we'll close this Windows Explorer window and go ahead and move on to importing our photos. First, I'll insert the memory stick from my camera into my card reader that I have connected to my computer. Since I don't just use this drive for importing pictures, I'm not going to check this box saying always do this for pictures. I could be inserting a memory stick that came from my smartphone, in which case I might want to open the folder instead. However, if you're only going to be using this connection for your pictures, for example, if it's actually your digital camera connected to the computer, go ahead and check that box. For now, though, I'm just going to go ahead and click the Import Pictures link. Before we look at the settings for this particular import job, I'm going to look at the general import settings, which you can get to from this link down in the bottom left corner. First, we'll look at some general settings. Prompt for a tag on import will ask you for information about the photos that you're importing to add them to the file name. This is generally a good idea. Rotating pictures automatically on import is also a good idea, and I would leave that checked. The reason is that way it corrects the orientation of any pictures where you've turned the camera so you can look at them correctly on your computer. Opening Windows Explorer after import is also a very good idea because that way you can verify that your pictures downloaded properly and there were no problems. I recommend not checking the Always Erase from Device after importing option, as it's a good idea to go ahead and check the pictures yourself, visually inspect them, before deleting them from your device. You can always do that manually, so in most cases, don't have this checked. However, if you have complete confidence that the import process will complete and that there won't be any problems that you don't find until later, go ahead and check it. I prefer to keep file name set to tag. You can keep the original file name, which, if this picture comes from, say, a digital camera, will be something somewhat unintelligible to a human. Original file name preserving folders, so if there are multiple folders on your device, it will import them with that structure. Or tag. I prefer the tag option. The tag will be something you can assign when you import the pictures. Typically it would be a descriptive name. We'll get back to that in a second when I set that. But that makes it a good name for your pictures if you want to know what they actually are. Then we get to the folder name. When Windows imports your pictures, it will put them all in one folder, which will have a name which could have the date imported, plus the tag that you've selected, the date taken, plus the tag, but then again it may not be all in one day, and my favorite option, the date taken range, meaning from this date to another date, plus the tag. We'll take a closer look at that once we have our pictures imported and the folder Windows creates to look at. Finally, we get to the folders that Windows will use to hold our imported pictures and videos. As I mentioned before, folders like My Pictures aren't a particularly good place to keep your pictures if you want to make sure they're going to be safe in case of a catastrophic system event. That's why we're going to change that location. I'll click on the Browse button, go to my computer, go to my external drive, and there's my Pictures folder that I just created. Click on OK, and that option is set. I can also change the location for my videos, and what I'm going to show you here is how you can create the folder when you're ready to use it. So I don't have a particular folder in here I want to use. Instead, I'm going to make a new folder, and once again click on OK, and now I have my video location set. Now I'm almost ready to start my importing. I'll click on OK to accept my changes, and I'll get a dialog telling me that the wizard must be restarted in order for my changes to be used. Click on OK. It will go ahead and read through the files on my memory card one more time, and we can get started with the import. The first thing I'm going to need to look at is whether I want to enter a tag for my photos. Assuming all my photos have something in common that I could use as a tag, and in this case they do, so I'm going to go ahead and use one, this is a good option. However, this will be a description for the pictures. In my case, it's going to be added to the file name and added to the folder name that they're imported into. So therefore, if they don't have anything in common, there's no point in adding that here. One unfortunate limitation of the import wizard in Windows 7 is that it doesn't allow you to pick which pictures you're going to import. In previous versions, I could select the pictures to import and give them all one tag, and then repeat the process selecting different pictures and give them a different tag. In this case, that's not going to be possible, although fortunately, as I said, in my case, that's not an issue as they are all related photos. Since all my pictures are from my son's summer camp this year, I'll go ahead and enter that here. And then I'll click the Import button. Now I can go ahead and look through all my photos to make sure they actually transferred correctly and there were no problems. The easiest way to do this is simply to turn on the Windows Explorer Preview pane. Using the Preview pane, you can look at your media by simply clicking on it on the left side, and then of course you can turn that off when you're done with it. Once you've gone through all your pictures, then you know they can be safely deleted from your camera or memory card. Then there's one last optional step, and that has to do with our pictures library. The final thing to do now, assuming this location isn't already in your pictures library, is to add it to that library. If it's a location you've already been using to store most of your pictures or all of your pictures, hopefully you've already done this. But if not, it's a simple matter to do it. The first thing you'll need to do is determine the exact location of your picture files. Even though you would think that you're actually looking at the folder itself where they're in, if you look up at the address bar, it actually says Imported Pictures and Videos. Fortunately, there's a simple way to actually find the location. Simply right-click on one of the pictures and select Open File Location. Now you'll see that I'm actually in the location where those photos are located. Once again, looking up to the address bar, this is the folder that they're located in. So if I click to the folder to the left of that, just look for the arrow, now I'm in the folder above that. If I want to just add this folder to my pictures library, I can simply click the Include in Library button and add it there. If, however, I want the Pictures folder itself included, I'll click one more level up, highlight Pictures once again, and add that to the Pictures library. In this case, I've already included that folder in my library, so there's no need to repeat the process as Windows tells me. Now I can go to my Pictures library and directly look at these folders. Notice that I have one entry for the Pictures folder, and it shows the subfolder that I've just imported. And below that, I have that subfolder directly added to the library, in which case it shows me the pictures. And that's all there is to importing your pictures using the wizard in Windows 7.